actually, my name is Isabelle Miaja. I'm based in Singapore, but I travel quite a lot, and we have an office also in Paris and in Manila. I'm the managing director of Miaja Design Group, established in Singapore for now 30 years. So we are celebrating this year our 30th year of interior design, and for me to be at the head of the company, so it's quite a number, especially as a woman and also as a head of a company. I think it's quite a milestone, so I'm very proud about that. I'm a mother of three, which have grown up in Singapore along with me and the company and all the activities. So that's another side also of a designer woman, which, I'm not saying that men don't have that in their life, but as the head of a company, to have also three children to put through school and take care of and nurture. It's also been quite a beautiful journey, but nonetheless quite intense as well. We are mostly focused on doing high-end residential, but also hotel. So we do an hotel from conception to actually finishing all the touches and openings. So that also are long journeys together with our clients, and then we do the ad hoc projects like a super yacht. That the woman who inspired me, I think that it's not about what they were doing, but who they were, and also what they took on to change things. One of them, I would say, was Eleanor Roosevelt. I didn't choose an easy name to pronounce for a French designer. It's like, but Eleanor Roosevelt was an advocate, a very big advocate for human rights, but also for the women's rights. And I think that for me was like a moment where there was a lot of fights, in the world about how women were going to be, moving into the society, especially after the Second World War, where they had to be the ones to actually take care of, the family when the men were out, and they had to be in offices and they had to be in factories. So I think that that changed the face of actually women at work, and after they felt the independence that earning something, and some of them had to, but some of them actually felt that they were empowered by the fact that they went out, made their own money, and brought it home, and not be subjected to actually wait for someone to bring it if that's not what they so wished for. And I think that we're talking here about the working industry. We're talking about women working, and especially because for me that's who I am. And I don't know if actually had much of a choice to work or not, or because I really had to work, and of course, I love what I'm doing, which is the path that I took, to study. But I also think that, so for me, Eleanor Roosevelt was, one of those figure women that, and there's more, of course, but she stuck out as, in the United States to really stand for women's rights. The second one that I absolutely also admire was Coco Chanel. And Coco Chanel is not only about the fashion and the bags and all that. I mean, at the time when she again during the war, Second World War, when she actually gave the freedom to women apparel, and how we didn't have to wear those awful corsets to actually represent a certain woman figure. So I think that she was the one who broke boundaries, and she was the one to tell the world that the way of dressing was our own way and our own choices for it to be comfortable. So that's why Coco Chanel for me, and she was a strong woman with a strong will. She really ran her life. And again, that doesn't mean that, she had a lot of admirers. And so it doesn't take away for us to be also woman, but, you don't have to be weak to be a woman. On the contrary, people admire strong women. Um, Sometimes they can't deal with them very much, but but that's not our problem, right? Because we need to march on life. I think that there's several projects that actually came through to the office that made me evolve as a designer. I think that now we talk a lot about building a story behind a project. That actually, especially in the hotel industry, we have stories to share and stories to tell. And I came from working for a few years in the US, and after studying, and I had seen, interior design bloom in the West Coast. It was really like, a big change for me because, I come from Paris, and everything was mostly at that time quite classic. We used to live actually in a Louis the 16 apartment. My parents were very much into, everything that had period furniture. I'm not saying that, of course, there was the whole time of the 40s, the 50s, but those are periods, and at the time, I mean, there was nothing like for me that looked new. And when I went to the East Coast, to the West Coast, there was the what we called at that time the transitional style. So it was kind of like mixing modern with old, means like a very like very clean line, and the fabrics also very clean on like a Louis the 16 leg. The forms had changed and actually evolved in something much more light. The fabrics were textured, and we were not looking into the satins and all that, but we were working with linens. So when I discovered that design, it really was one moment of like total new discovery. Then after that, I came to Singapore, and I saw the influence in Singapore was very much into the English style. And I think at the time you were not born, but you can still see some remnants of the old developments where it's bricks, and like the whole concept was towards the English shop homes, shop houses. And I'm not talking about the shop houses of Singapore, which don't have that influence. It's not English, but it's really those brick homes, etc. It was quite heavy. The windows were small. There was still a lot of like bars on the window, like they were going to be like some gangsters coming around. I remember it was like, everybody seemed to be frightened when actually to me it was the safest place in the world after I came back from Los Angeles and I went through the riots in LA. So that was a moment where I felt like actually my interior design feel coming from West Coast actually could bring a different look. Then from that Americanized way of thinking, I went to London and I went and stayed at the Aldwych in London, which was an amazing hotel, which actually blew my mind. It was another like, big step in my like design thinking. And all of a sudden, I looked at what we were doing, with this American transitional look, and I already felt, oh my God, this is too old already. And I can appreciate the look and I can appreciate everything, but for me, it just was not, where I wanted to go. I still wanted change and transformation for myself. It was not easy because when I came back from seeing this hotel and I came to the office and I said, that's it, we're not designing like this anymore. This is what I want. And they all looked at me like, what? You know, because on top of that, the company was established by, you know, already with the designs we were doing. We were published, and people were coming to us. And you know, of course, there's always a scary moment when you're changing vision and when you're changing direction for a company's design, especially. And that was the second like big birthing of like Miaja Design Group. Actually, we did change names 3 times from IMA to Miaja Design International, and then after that IMA International, Isabelle Miaja and Associate, and then we went to Miaja Design Group, because I really wanted us to, you know, feel like, you know, the weight of the group was there behind me. It was not just Isabelle Miaja. So that's again, we go back to branding, how important it is, and how actually you need to evolve your company, even in that aspect. Then after that, some projects came in, which were islands in the Maldives. That was like also a big revelation, where I started designing total new ecosystems, and that really like was another big learning experience, because you don't design in the Maldives or on any island with you know, the same mental awareness. You have to think of nature, you have to think of you have to think of like how to work with nature, and I'm not saying that, of course, architecturally here we have to think of the wind and we have to think of the sun and etc., but there's like, you know, this time it's multiplied by 10,000, because there nature is the ruler, and you have to work with it, and you have to, and the taming is fake, because you can't tame the big winds, and you can't, I mean, sometimes when you know, you go after a storm in the Maldives, and then you see the chaise lounge in the sea, and the umbrellas also, I mean, they have to go with the motorboats and like pick up everything, all the furniture that's like floating in the sea. So all these are like, you know, big learning curves for me. um, and then my latest big learning curve is designing a hospital. And I felt that when I was doing this one, and again, a total greenfield for me of like, you know, from interior design for high-end residential to actually hotels, and then a hospital. And a hospital is much more than just giving pretty spaces to people who are happy. A hospital, designing a hospital is mainly like, you know, going there and designing for someone who's going to be entering and not feeling well, or with family who, you know, and that's another sense of responsibility there. Not only you have to be careful as to the materials that you're putting, because some materials are not good for, you know, the germs, you know, and how to give to a hospital the sense of like a home, a sense of like, you know, it's already scary to go there. And how do you remove all that? And how do you implement a design that's actually going to be, you know, with empathy? And that was again, so this hospital is actually the Beaumont Grad Hospital in Bangkok. And the whole team, you know, there was amazing, because they really helped my team and myself to understand all the pitfalls and all the ups, and you know, the things that I need to watch out for, and yet bring in my experience, and so make room for each other. So that was amazing, and I'm still doing this at the moment, and I love it, because it feels like I'm giving back. That my learning curve, my learning on how to make people feel comfortable in spaces is actually like being put to an amazing use.